Welcome, Pathfolk, to After Party 21, where we discuss the incredibly unexpected events of the previous 3 episodes.
Yes.
We're still in shock, honestly.
A little bit, yeah.
Covering episodes 61, 62, 63.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So much good stuff and horrible awfulness. Depending on which side of the table you're on.
It's a bunch of horrible awfulness.
I hope it's all good stuff for all of our listeners.
Yeah,
That's
hopefully you
what's
guys enjoy it, because we're being tortured slowly for your entertainment.
important. Sometimes not even slowly.
That's true.
Our covering 61, 62, 63. So 61 was the tail end of the fight against the zombies when you guys had your
42 zombies fight.
yes, when you had your confrontation with the leader of the Cult of the Forgotten Pharaoh, also the leader of the Silver Chain,
Merit Heta.
sort of.
Yeah, which was surprisingly easy.
Yeah, the fight
Again.
against Merit. So
That fight.
I don't know what it is. I just cannot literally roll for the cultists. I can't
That's fine.
get any spells off for the cultists.
Pharasma just doesn't favor the cultists.
That's right.
I had my fun little Sobex. They were fun. We need them with us all the time.
Her whole thing is like summoning creatures. Even when she got the summon spell off, they went down ridiculously fast. Her bardic performance barely actually even helped the cultist roll DC. It was just kind of a wash. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that sad episode.
Yeah, sad for Rick.
But I mean, hey, it finally finished that arc that you guys have been dealing with Merit Hetef in the background and the Silver Chain and the Cult of the Forgotten Pharaoh in the background this whole time.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious to ask how many of you thought that it might not be the ghouls tracking all of you and that it was the Silver Chain.
I thought it was the ghouls.
Yeah, I did too.
I also thought it was ghouls, yeah. Did not see
or
the Silver
just
Chain
other
coming.
random
Undead.
undead or something, keeping an eye on what was considered their territory in the necropolis. I didn't even think about the Silver Chain following us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kept being kind of curious of whether or not you deviate and go. It's like you see a shadow of someone moving through this building. It's like I run over there and attack. And it's like, oh, okay, cultists.
Yeah, to be fair, that's kind of not really our style as
No.
players to just go off kind of half-cocked with stuff. So we tend to, like, wait for things to come, like, be overtly in our way unless we're, like, hunting something.
We're like the smart people in the horror movie that don't immediately go toward the danger in the dark.
That's fair,
Yeah.
yeah.
True. We don't run up the stairs.
We're the survivors.
No.
Someone made a comment previously that that I blend what seems to be background descriptive text and actual descriptive text to the point that sometimes it's hard to tell when it's one or the other. So it's like, was I setting the mood with telling you that there's creepy things moving through the shadows around you, or was it an actual
Like
thing?
hint.
Oh, there
Misdirection.
were
So-
actually things.
Yeah, they're actually worth it. There's always an actual thing there if you want to go and investigate.
Yeah, maybe we have, I was going to say, maybe we're more used to it, but, like, I can kind of tell the difference between, like, we're being kind of guided towards something we should investigate versus something that's just, like, flavor text.
Side quest.
Yeah, the optional
side
side quest kind of stuff, because, like, you know, a good example is, like, these tiles have got to be coming from somewhere thing from, like, episode 63 was a really good example of, like, being guided towards
Maybe you
a
should.
cool room with a cool item in
Yeah.
it, more so than just, like, oh, that's just something I'm just positing out there just to kind of, like...
As much as I tried to guide you in the direction of that dance hall, you guys didn't take the bait on that
Yeah, because we're not
yeah.
stupid.
We're
Well,
not stupid.
The problem is
two
you made the
people
roll
at
to
Paisocon
know it's
asked
a bad
me
idea.
if we were going to go back and go in there, and I'm like, no.
No.
Why would we do that?
That's one of those, like, whenever you hit, like, the end of the adventure path and you're like, what can we do to extend the adventure path? We'll go down in there and kick some butt. Yeah, we're not going to do that anytime soon.
No. We have more important things to do.
I've already fought undead in a dance hall and another AP. I don't want to do it again.
That's true. Yeah, that was not a good time.
So following that, you guys went into that episode ended with you confronting the Festrogs.
Yeah.
Yes, where we had completed the Indiana Jones tile puzzle.
Yeah, the
Oh,
Indiana Jones
yeah.
tile puzzle.
It
which was a
also
lot of fun.
reminded me of that puzzle in Baldur's Gate 2 where you had to walk across the tiles and spell the god's name correctly to get across. Otherwise,
It's kind of a classic trap
you know.
Yeah.
of navigate these tiles in a correct order.
I liked
true.
the twist on the calendar
Yeah.
thing. Like, I thought that was a really good twist because of the, you know, numerous calendars that have changed over time in, like, our history as well.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good touch.
Yeah, then you guys faced the Festrogs, so the trend of
Creepy.
disease-causing undead continued.
Yeah, I like Festrog. I think Festrog are... One, it was really thematic, but also they're kind of like ghoul adjacent in my mind. It's kind of like a ghoul, but it's a dog.
Well, it's
person.
also one of those things that when you play this game a lot, like we do, it's like, oh, it's ghouls. And so it was kind of nice to be like, oh, it's actually something I haven't fought in a while.
Yeah, that's fair. Also, just as a way to like kind of divvy it up, because I've definitely done whole adventure path books that have been they feel too samey because there's too much of the same stuff. And so it's always good to have something to kind of change it up.
And a head in a cage is never going to feel samey.
That was fantastic.
That was hilarious.
That's true.
As a segue to just because everybody really just wants to talk about the
62.
head. Rick, I want to know everything there is to know about that head because that was the coolest.
Sure, I can let you in on a couple of things behind the scenes on it.
Because I think that was a unique undead, wasn't it?
Yes, she actually is a unique undead creature.
Super cool.
She was my
the
grandma.
like cursed gaze and like all that was like super.
I don't know.
weird
I
and-
just loved that on her was able to kidnap her.
Oh, definitely that too. Yeah.
Albeit temporarily, but
It was
still.
good. If he had gotten to actually do that thing where he flew around with her, that would have been amazing.
Yeah, but like one of my least favorite things is the Pugwampy, misfortune
Wompies.
thing. Like it's
Sagira.
awful, but it just causes chaos, which sometimes chaos can be real fun as a player and as a GM.
Yeah, but when you're level 1 and you're fighting a Pugwampy, it's like, ah!
Oh no, yeah, I know you're just flailing ineffectively at stuff, but it really interesting.
Yeah. The big takeaways of what she had, first off, that was her hateful glare, was her
Makes
unlock
sense.
ability, which was really... It's another one of those occasions where, as much as I have been, honestly, on kind of a cold streak for the last good while, I think the mummy fight was the last time that I truly challenged the party with the two mummies, where I was
we are
rolling
going to
well.
we potentially die in this fight. Kind
Hey,
of.
you're
I guess.
still
Yeah.
using up our
Yeah.
resources with this
Yeah.
stuff. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But the cultists have been kind of laughable. I actually got in surprisingly a good number of licks with the zombies. And then we got into this fight, and it was another one of those, if 4 members of the party had failed to save against the hateful glare, that would have been a completely different fight than only 1 member of the party fails the check.
And the same one as the one that gets confused and wants to attack her friends. So.
Yeah. Well, she targeted you because you failed, because you had to
Yeah.
roll twice on your will saves.
Yep.
Although it also had the double-edged sword of you were then rolling twice on your attack rolls as well, but you had a favorite enemy bonus, so you were still pretty good at hitting Sitra even
Yeah.
taking that. Beyond that, she had a bite attack, which also bestowed curse, which is just fun. It is permanent too. It's an actual bestow curse, -4 penalty on ability rolls, saving throws, ability checks, and skill checks.
I have enough curses to deal with right now. I don't need that.
one
too.
more
Right.
curse, which would be a lot of fun.
I just like that she gets a bite attack and she's being flailed around on their chain. On
She's
her.
a chomp chain.
Yeah, we were saying she was a chain chomp. Yeah, she's very much a chain chomp.
Yeah, the neat thing about that gilded cage is it's quote, a small golden cage etched with mystical sigils and soaked in alchemical reagents, which is why it gives her as strong of an armor class bonus as it did, because it was actually giving her a +4 armor class bonus.
Jeez.
Wow, nice.
You could have feasibly sundered it, which would have made it so that she could no longer be used as a weapon and reduce her armor class. But
Isn't she just a head rolling around on the ground?
she has a 5-foot roll speed.
Roll
As she
speed.
rolls over, since she's tiny size, she would roll over into your square and then bite onto your ankle and bestow curse,
Goodness.
which is pretty great.
Golly.
Little ankle biter.
And really, the last thing that she had kind of going for her was she was a 6th level oracle
Yeah, that's pretty intense.
in life and in death. So
Jeez.
Goodness.
He probably put her up here because he's tired of listening to her.
Well, and so the undead skeletons and the undead head could constantly communicate and scribe down all of her visions.
Yeah. 'cause
yeah,
he
it's
wants
just
to
like
nervous.
you deal with my grandmother.
I just like the idea that like you raise a skeletal champion and they're like, I'm semi-intelligent, and it's like, what is my purpose, master? I want you to take all of her mad ravings and just write it down. But I have a sword and a shield. Like I can fight. No, I need you to just write down everything she says. But she's saying literally nonsense. No, write it down. It's valuable.
I like to think how angry those skeletal champions are because they're like, my bony fingers can't hold this quill.
Yeah.
There's no grip.
Also, then we read her stuff and we learned a lot of things about how she was a terrible person
Yep.
and how she was actually really terrible to the grandson who was a bastard.
Yep, Nebta Kufri.
And your mom ran away.
Yep, and we all were like, yep, that's why. I get it. She was terrible.
Yeah, there's a pattern there. If everybody starts leaving your life, maybe self-examination is in order. Like, it's a problem.
Well,
No, but
and,
she's a narcissist. It's not her problem.
Oh yeah, no,
it's
definitely
theirs.
true. Yeah.
well, and it was just all that it was his fault that he didn't have oracular powers and wasn't born a sorcerer and
Yeah, and her
learning to be a wizard isn't
over
good enough.
like sorcerers versus wizards is ridiculous. It's way harder to be a wizard. Like sorcerers is kind of easy mode 'cause it's like, oh, I was just born with it. Like wizards, like no, I went to school for like 10 years and like studied extensively on like hand gestures and like incantations.
Yeah, that's been kind of an interesting thing that's floated around since the birth of 3.0, because it was kind of hardwired into the player's guide for 3.0 that sorcerers kind of look down on wizards because you don't have this innate talent. I was just born with this, and you just kind of have to work on it and all the rest of that. And conversely, wizards are like, you were just gifted this, and you didn't actually have to work for anything. So that was kind of like hardwired into the original DNA of 3.0. I think it's kind of moved away from that now, where it's the outlier where there's the wizard that looks down his nose at a sorcerer just spontaneously having powers, or the sorcerer that, screw you, old man, shaking their fists at the wizards. But I think we also moved away from old human wizards with long white beards and sexy sorcerers.
True. Well, I mean...
No,
They're still sexy
I was going to
sorcerers.
say, except for the iconics.
Yeah, it's like the iconics are actually both of those things.
Yeah, they are both of those things. But Ezra and Sione are both interesting characters.
And Onuris finally found the proof he's been looking for.
That's true.
You existed.
Yeah. That'll come into play more when he goes and says goodbye to his family.
By the way,
Goodbye,
I
mother.
exist. You show a piece of paper.
Here's proof that I was right all along, and I never loved you.
I mean, yes, that's exactly what he's going to say.
Well, you know.
That sounds like Onuris.
Yes, with a sigh in for good measure.
And the birds.
Okay, but how does that prove anything? Like, people already knew that you existed.
No, this is the proof he needs from his mother show his mother that he actually...
He is actually Onuris,
Yes.
like the reincarnated spirit
Yeah.
of
I mean,
a former
couldn't he-
pharaoh, like the whole thing.
There's a paper trail now, at least.
And it also kind of resolves some of your campaign trait where you were searching for proof.
that my family was descended from the pharaohs.
Yes.
The Moffreys have always claimed it, but this is now actual proof that they were, in fact, descended from the Jaredit.
Proved you got married. I don't know. Did you have any babies?
Oh.
Won't we have to find out?
There wasn't a glorious event for that in the
we
the
don't have
record
time.
books.
Yeah.
So who knows?
You didn't ask to look for that.
I already know the answer to those questions.
Yeah, you
Everyone
can go
else
back
is the
and
one that
look
has to
later.
wait and see.
Oh, I see.
Well, the answer's gotta be
that's how
yes, or else
how convenient.
how else did your family line continue on?
Valid point. Anyway, so yeah, you found out some interesting information. You found the ramblings of a mad woman scribbled down on a sheet of paper.
Now we're going to have to go to the elemental temples of evil.
Yeah,
Or
the Zelda
something,
temples.
yeah.
So-
Yeah, and then we got transported away.
Well, yeah,
Well,
you
you're
went
skipping
downstairs.
steps
There was the tile room, which was kind of fun.
The fact that we had to go up and down 8 flights of stairs to get past that trap was just like
Better than triggering that trap.
Oh no, better than
Yeah.
triggering the trap, but it's also one of those moments where like your adventurers, you're kind of like hopped up on adventure juice, and you're like, I'm ready to go, and I'm ready to fight and ready to do stuff, and then you get to this, and you're just like look at the stairs, and I just imagine like Sudi looking at the stairs, going up, going,
I
and then
will
all
say,
my desire goes out.
I will say, anyone looking at trap design, definitely look at this one, because there's a mechanic to it you guys didn't get to explore. But I really loved it, where it's tiles spin up in the air, and then they launch through the air at you, and they make an attack roll, and all the rest of that. It does directly address in here that not only is there the bypass, where if you guys had triggered it, it would have started attacking everyone but Sudi. Sudi would have just stood there impervious to them, because none of them would have gone against him. He's bearing a holy symbol. Which is kind of interesting just to start
So you
with.
could kind of figure it out, maybe.
Yeah. And then the second one is you can actually ready an action every turn to sunder them as they fly at you.
Oh, cool.
So you can actually just stand there like you're a batter in a batter's cage, just swinging at these things and sundering them. I was like, that is really... And then there's specifically 20 tiles in the room, so there's only 20 attacks that it will make.
Oh, nice.
So you can feasibly just like stand in a circle, like punching and kicking and swinging your swords at all these tiles as they come flying at you.
Oh,
Like,
interesting.
the design of the trap I just really loved. I was fine with you guys bypassing as you did, but if you triggered it, it would have just been a whole lot of fun to run through that kind of thing.
Yeah, we don't need to have those hits. To,
Consume more of your resources.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
So bypassing it was good, but it is one of those things that like the bard is telling the tale. That's the part the bard skips. Is the part where then we had to backtrack up 8 flights of stairs to
Yeah.
get some holy symbols off some festrogs and then like go back down.
They just kind of hand wave it.
That is
Yeah.
about to be a long, long run.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the terrible, terrible, terrible thing happened.
Oh my
Lord.
goodness,
Yes.
that
We're
thing,
in
and we can ask
trouble.
literally nothing about it in this after party because we're gonna fight it.
I can leave a little bit of information out here. I won't
Okay.
go into the creature.
Force teleport though. So
Tell us
bad.
about where we are.
So the teleportation pulse, I love the idea of that. As a mechanic, it's a whole lot of fun because it's a will save and then just you're somewhere else. So a little behind the scenes on the mechanics there. The D8 roll is directionality. I think Jordan said that to me off air.
Yeah,
but
I knew what it was as soon as you started doing it. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, it's the cardinal direction that the member teleports. The D10 roll is how many hundreds of feet.
Yep.
Oh, I'm 900 feet away.
You've been teleported 900 feet away from this.
Yeah, so I'm like 500 feet away.
At least I'm not underground 900 feet away.
So actually, I made a list of a couple of places because you're teleported based on cardinal directions and you're shunted if it would land you in an object. So your distance was reduced down. Technically, it's added up altogether if you're really looking at how far you need to run. But you guys were shunted 900 feet or 700 feet or 500 feet in Sudi's case.
Into brick.
Basically,
stone.
and then shot up.
Yeah.
Because you were down beneath the earth. But if you'd actually gone into the city when you scattered, you would have popped up in crypts, in tombs.
Oh, God.
So the thing I was going to
bathhouse.
mention is you actually are, if you rolled a 10, within range of the dance hall.
Oh no.
So you might have just shunted out into the dance hall if you rolled high enough. So I was just like, oh, there are all these amazing places that the party could just stumble back
Nope,
into.
just in the desert.
But no, you both happen to roll 7, and so 1, 7, and 8 would all take you far enough to the north. If Sudi had actually rolled a 4 instead of a 5, he would have been on the inside of the wall. Like Sudi's in the shadow of the wall.
We've been
Terrible.
running for like 3 episodes, guys.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while.
So, unfortunately, that means that at Sagira's top running speed, it's going to be at least getting in there with a climb and everything else. It's going to be at least a minute. Yeah. It's going to either be a long, drawn-out fight, and that's assuming that you don't run into anything else on
I
your
know.
way back.
I'm like, oh, jeez.
If this weirdo skeletal guy doesn't have a holy symbol of Pharasma, we're running in the tile room.
Oh, he got through it once. Oh, the skeleton.
The skeleton. That's what I mean.
You
It's
should
like-
do that anyway for sure.
Yeah, the tactical retreat is not out of the option at this
I mean, you're
point.
standing in front of a hallway where you don't know it goes. You could run down that way.
Oh
too.
yeah, because that's exactly what we're gonna do.
just
I
saying.
don't. I don't think going into the unknown is the best
I was
decision.
gonna say,
right
didn't we talk about how we're the survivors in the horror shows?
Yes, this has gone to
Oh,
survival
you can go hide in
horror
that little
mode.
room with the tiles.
On the plus side, Sudi's got a natural climb speed, so Sudi's probably going to get over that wall pretty fast.
I
Yeah.
know. I don't even have a grappling hook. I just have a rope, so I'm going to have to like figure it out.
It's just gonna be darn inconvenient to be teleported away in the middle of a fight.
Can he do that again?
Who
I
knows?
hope not.
Oh man, who knows? Well, and you're just running back in, hoping that everybody's still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, you basically just need to navigate past most of the necropolis.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, random dice luck.
Okay, this is going to be bad.
Yikes.
Because
Be
who knows
rough.
how many things we're going to run into.
Oh,
on the way
and then
back.
we're gonna basically train them into.
Well, because now we're
Yeah.
by ourselves running through the necropolis.
Yeah, my only hope is that I'm faster than whatever is gonna be chasing me.
Yeah, because Sagira's on the, when she flashed in, she landed basically on the edge of where like the river, comes up close to
Oh,
the wall.
God.
Sudi is
Hippo.
technically, actually, I think, just at the edge of the veins.
Hippo round 2.
Oh, okay,
So you're actually near the slums districts where you used to run.
okay. So at least I kind of know where I am.
Yeah.
Just all right.
Jeez. Ah, jeez.
Jeez.
Oh, jeez.
Cyrus.
Oh, Cyrus.
Oh, Cyrus.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cyrus.
And we're still in the room with it.
Yep.
I don't know if that's better or worse, to be really honest.
We'll find out next time, unfortunately.
All right.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of exciting turnout, and hopefully Sagira and Sudi can get back in time, or Sitra and Onuris can fight a fighting retreat up 8 flights of stairs.
I did post a picture of Heather's face at the conclusion of recording that on Twitter.
Yeah, so if you saw that a few weeks back and you were curious,
There you go. There's your
That's her
answer.
face of, oh, we are in such deep trouble.
Yep. All right. Email 1 is from Graf and the boys from the Mana Wastes.
Cool.
hey, Griff.
He says, "Thanks so much for reading the letter. Boys got a kick out of it. Props to Jordan for reading my really long sentences.
Yay.
You guys have really involved characters with elaborate backstories. Are you okay with getting killed? Has Rick ever killed a character? Killed a character ignominiously? Would you, either Rick or the cast members who DM, ever fudge a roll to protect a character because it wasn't their time? P.S. Jordan did 2 different great whisper voices. Deserve more love. +1 for severe throat wound for Sudi."
Sudi needs a raspy voice now.
Yep. So,
Let me get my smoker voice out here.
are you okay with getting killed? Let's do it one at a time. Are you okay with getting killed?
No.
Am I okay with it? Yes. Do I want to be? No.
Yeah, that's the answer.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I go back to my.
I can't really stop it. I don't want Onuris to die. I really, really love its backstory, but
If you die, you die.
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm okay with dying if it's in a noble cause. Like if you die because you were saving somebody, or like if Sudi had died but had saved 10 people, that's totally cool. But if it's just you just fell off a cliff and you died, that's my things that I don't want to do is I don't want to drown, I don't want to fall off of something because I don't feel like those are heroic deaths.
Yeah, but I mean, without the chance to die, it's not really. There's no tension. There's no real stakes.
Yeah. A good example is with these cultist fights that have been kind of not intentionally softballed, but that's just kind of the way the dice have rolled. It's not. It doesn't seem as interesting than when we're oh my goodness, I'm almost gonna die from this.
Am I really worried about Onuris right now? Yes.
Yes, because of the stakes, right?
Ask us
There's a
next
bit of
after
terror.
party.
Jordan actually pretty well summed up my own views whenever I play that I'm fine with dying. I'm okay with dying if it's in a dramatic way.
Yeah.
If it's a random encounter or something, no, I would be disappointed. But if it's my character facing off against the man who killed my father, and then I tackle him off the side of a bridge and we plummet 100 feet down to the ground together to die, it's no, that's an epic death, or saving another party member or something like that. An epic death is worth it. Yeah. It tells a good story.
As far as do we fudge rolls because it's not?
Nope.
your time?
No, never fudge rolls.
The next question is:
Go and roll. Order.
Has Rick ever killed a character?
Yes.
It's kind of ironic that Jess is the one answering this question or hosting this day.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was gonna say I've definitely lost a character to Rick. I lost a character epically though, so I didn't feel bad about it because it was an epic death. So
I've lost a character because the witch couldn't make any rolls.
That was only part of it.
You died a hero saving somebody from drowning.
And Jordan's character wouldn't get the rope out of his own bag.
I feel like Jordan has more to do with that death
I'm a
than
little
Ross's
salty about
bad dice rolls.
I love Fawnrun Night Meadow so much.
I think my favorite of there's not a good way to phrase this. I think my favorite of Jessica's character deaths is the time that she was killed by an iron golem. Or sorry, she was knocked down into the negatives by an iron golem while suffering from the constitution damaging breath weapon, and then was turned invisible by a party member, and then died. And then someone had to slide over with a breath of life but roll a 50% mischance because the object her body was still invisible.
Those were both Heather. Heather also made me invisible, but also then was like, what?
I made the roll. Ketra lived.
Ketra did come back to life.
I killed her for a round, but that was probably my favorite of the Jessica death moments.
But I'll give you another kind of one of the times that I died. Speaking of breath of life, so I we're literally going down through a dungeon and I trigger. I guess we'll just say I triggered a trap and I'm dead. That's just gone. From full hit points to death. The moment that I realized I was dead, I was just like, this is the death ever. And then breath of life me back up, and I was like, thank goodness, because I was just like, this is the worst.
And Jordan learned his lesson about playing 8 Constitution sorcerers.
Also that, always have a 10.
Don't do that. Yeah, a 12 is best if you can.
Yeah, I was just I don't think I've actually done one with a 10 in a long time.
Yeah, getting a negative Constitution modifier for a D6 hit die class is.
That was not my.
Did you have 50 hit points ever?
I think he had 50 hit points by 17th level.
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say.
I might have crested 75 by the end.
I just remember baboons would take that character down.
I spent every other fight. I think I went down at least once.
He was like a Jack in the Box.
But I was the ultimate glass cannon because I would just blast out stuff and then draw fire and be down after the first hit.
And then freak out because he's bleeding out, and then he's like, it's like I'm bleeding out and I only have an 8 Constitution.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you ever fudge a roll to protect a character because it wasn't their time?
No, because obviously it was their time if their dice rolled that way. Pharasma.
I think for all the players, they know that I don't tolerate fudging. It's cheating. It's what it is. It's a nice word for it, but it's cheating. As far as behind the screen, no. I don't like... I think that a character's time is dependent upon their actions, and they wouldn't be in the situation that they were in if it weren't for their own course of action. Sometimes you just get a string of bad dice rolls, and that's what happens.
Yeah.
But, I'm not going to drag out a character for another couple of sessions, or I think I saw somewhere where someone suggested that if a character would die, fudge the die roll, but then guarantee that they die in a dramatically appropriate fight, like in the next couple of sessions. And I'm like, no, because that's not only are you lying about the initial roll, but then you're gunning for a character.
Yeah.
Which are both kind of no-nos.
Yeah, the fudging thing for me is it's better to not fudge anything.
Yeah.
Because it's too... if you start that like slippery slope, it's too tempting to be like, they're having just an easier time than I want them to have with this fight, so I'll fudge a couple rolls, and then, before you know it, you're just making stuff up.
I will throw out there for the people that are playing at home with their groups, if you're Game Master and you are fine with doing the occasional fudge dice roll, that's completely on you. That's GM fiat. That's if you're a narrative storyteller and you're trying to tell a story, then that's a tool at your own disposal. It's not a tool that I use, but I'm not going to judge anyone else for choosing to use it. I want you guys to succeed, but I want you to earn it.
Yeah, I was going to say, because it does kind of cheapen it. Like, even if I'm the only one who's going to know, I'm going to know that I kind of cheapened that victory for the party.
Well, it takes away the fairness of the game, too.
Yeah.
Well, and it was interesting, and we were asked this question. A shout out to some of the guys from the Hideous Laughter podcast, which we got to meet while we were up at PaizoCon. But I was asked the question about gymming at a table with my wife.
I do not get special treatment.
I was going to say, sometimes you get unspecial treatment.
It's true. No,
Although I don't think Rick has ever killed Rachel's character.
No, Rachel makes the wiliest of characters.
I have come very close on multiple occasions.
Her
usually,
fighter, I tried on the innumerable occasions.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Jessica's
If it wasn't for you, I would be dead.
Battle Oracles, guys. Play them. They're wonderful.
But I was asked that question. That's part of the reason, again, why I don't fudge is I don't want my personal friendships or my relationship or even a bias if someone, annoys me or something the day before to influence how I'm going to run my game. I find that the dice are
just.
Yeah, the dice gods are cruel but just.
That's
so fun questions though.
All right, next email from James in Oakland.
Oakland, California, I assume.
It doesn't say. Oakland, tree lands, somewhere with trees.
He could be from Keonan.
Keonan.
The only thing I know about Oakland is that, and this is rare because I actually know very little sports fact, is it is the home of the Oakland Raiders. So
and
Pirates,
there's your sports fact for all those people
that's the
who
only
know
thing
sports.
that I know about Oakland.
Sodden lands.
Or Keonan.
Yeah, Keonan is
I like
neat.
Keonan.
I like
Yeah.
Keonan's good.
Keonan with the
You
elves.
can be from Keonan.
Casterville with the elves.
Oakland's
Isn't Castroville a planet, though?
That's where
Yes.
the elves are,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Oakland's in the Golden Bay area, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keonan it is. Fine.
Keonan.
It's close to Redwoods.
Give the elves some love.
All right, let me start by saying how much I love the show. I started listening 3 weeks ago, and I just got to episode 50. I've recommended you to all the nerds at Dr. Games and Mr. Games.
Yeah.
No, I've recommended you to all the nerds at Dr. Comics and Mr. Games, my friendly local game store.
Aw,
Thank you.
Support
Thank
your
you.
local
That's a
game
neat
store.
allusion to like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like that's a nice name.
Yeah.
That's neat. We'll have to-
Anyway.
if we ever make our way out to Oakland, we'll have to check it out.
A little background before my question. I started playing Pathfinder late last year. I actually started with Starfinder after coming over from 5e. I've got a Dead Suns game and a Ruins of Aslant game going now.
Both good adventure paths.
I've noticed that Pathfinder Adventure Path books are a lot longer than the Starfinder ones, almost 30 pages, and the adventures themselves take longer to play. We average 6 weeks for a Starfinder book and 9 weeks for a Pathfinder one. Here's my question. Do you think Pathfinder Adventure Path books are too long? Would you like it if they ran faster like Starfinder, where you can finish an adventure path in under a year? And just to cover bases, if you don't think they're too long, would you like them to be longer? Thanks for all the hard work and all the wonderful moments. P.S. Jordan, I'm sorry about the eye, but at least you got a cool title out of it.
Thank you.
So-
Last Eye of Raw.
Are the
you.
books too long or
I
too
don't-
short?
I don't really think so. I actually think the adventure paths are a good length.
Sometimes. It depends on the story. Like, sometimes, every now and then, there's a book that feels like filler.
Yeah, I think a lot of it boils down to the writing. And
Yep.
thankfully, Paizo has some pretty
Yep.
amazing writers. It's rare that you get into a book that you're just like, oh my god, come on. And when it happens, sometimes I feel like it's unintentional. Like there was other stuff that was supposed to happen that maybe didn't, or it's all about how your characters play through the story too. So there's a lot of factors.
And we've actually gone to PaizoCon and asked some stuff about the adventure paths. And I remember when Starfinder was coming out, they said one of the things that they were kind of experimenting with in Starfinder was the idea of more compact stories in order to tell different types of stories that they couldn't tell in 6 books. Like maybe they had a story that was really great that would fit in 4 books worth of content. And they were like, we could pad it out to 6, but we don't really want to. And so Starfinder has, some shorter adventures because they compartmentalized it down to here's something that we want to tell that is not a grand, awesome 6-book story, but is something that maybe is a 3-book story. Yeah. And I think that in some cases is really beneficial.
And the Starfinder combat is quicker than Pathfinder combat, isn't it?
And it actually takes more rounds usually to run through.
But going through an individual action is faster.
I'm just thinking like when we get into higher level playing Pathfinder, that like explodes into time.
Part of the optical illusion, I think, with the page count in Starfinder is the fact that the stat blocks in Starfinder are a lot more condensed. Mm-hmm. So you actually get more words of the adventure per book than you do in Pathfinder, because the stat blocks in especially once you're getting into like book 6, you can have a stat block that takes up a full page.
Yep.
So the stat blocks are just larger in Pathfinder. Pacing wise, I think Pathfinder generally has really good pacing. I agree with Rachel that there are the occasional adventure books where either the pacing doesn't work for me or the adventure just feels long. The only one that immediately springs to mind is, I wouldn't really consider this a spoiler, but Book 4 for Curse of the Crimson Throne.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A History of Ashes. And some of that might have been, it was just such a large departure from what the story had been up until that point.
Yeah.
And that's no beef against Michael Cortez, who's a phenomenal writer. He wrote Book 1 of Carrying Crown, The Haunting of Harrowstone.
That's a good book.
Which was a great book and extraordinarily well paced. I think it was just, every once in a while I run into a thing and I want to get through this part of the story to get to the next interesting part of the story.
Book 5 of Serpent Skull.
Yeah. But I think Paizo does a good job of making the adventures as long as it's necessary to tell the story. I think sometimes that they have to sacrifice certain things. Famously, also going back to Curse of the Crimson Throne, the sheer amount of the Greg Vaughn's material that they had to cut from the Greg Vaughn book to make it fit into an Adventure Path book that they added back in for the special edition. I think the stories for Pathfinder could run a little faster, and I'm interested to see what they're going to do with second edition.
The thing I like about second edition combat is the combat is faster, or at least feels faster. So I'm curious to see if that actually changes pacing as far as dungeon design and overall encounter design, because part of the problem, especially at higher levels, is, and we're kind of running into this right now with some of our other adventures we're higher in, is sometimes by the time you can start summoning in higher level things and you get leadership and you've got all these other characters on the board, suddenly combat can start taking a good 2-3 hours for a single encounter. And so I'll be curious to see if like second edition kind of helps streamline that a little bit at the higher level play, because that is something that I feel like maybe gets factored in a little bit, is the idea that like, okay, there's only so many fights you can do in, call it 9 weeks worth of content.
Yeah.
If we take like, there's a consistent amount of like pacing that you pull in, so.
And 9 weeks not a bad estimate.
It's pretty decent.
It's pretty decent estimate. That's a pretty good clip.
And finishing an Adventure Path book for Starfinder in 6 weeks is actually pretty freaking good.
Yeah.
So, James, you must have a very regular group that's dedicated to finish
and efficient, because I know that because we've got a group that we play.
Especially if they've been playing for less than a year.
Yeah, because like we play very infrequently with a group. Kudos on you guys for like staying focused and getting through it, because it is a huge commitment to do an adventure path.
So I guess rapid fire to answer that real quick. Jess, too long, too short, perfect.
Depends on the story.
Depends on the story. Jordan?
Depends on the story.
Depends on the story. Rachel?
Depends on the story.
Yeah, I mean, it really does depend on the story.
Yeah.
Universal
I will
consensus.
give a definitive answer. I'd be happy if Paizo gave me more material for anything. So if they wanted to make them 120 pages, I would do every one of them with 120 pages.
Yeah, that's fair.
Although, actually, I will say, and this isn't going to apply to second edition, but I wouldn't mind them. They had to make all of the adventures slightly longer for Return of the Rune Lords.
Oh, to get to 20th.
And to get to 20th level. So I actually wouldn't mind if all of the adventures were slightly longer to get all the characters to 20th level by the end of each adventure.
That is one of the weird things that I've noticed. Like, we've had some games where characters are like almost 18th or 19th level when we finish, and then other campaigns where we're like 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm looking forward to the more consistent. You're going to hit 20th level in every single adventure
with
path
second
in
edition,
second edition.
every adventure path should take you to 20th level. So
Cool.
Well, that's all we have.
Oh, for you.
Cast of a deity.
Cast that deity.
not only are we casting gods, but we're also sharing knowledge.
Oh,
Yes.
boy.
It's
All right,
edutainment.
what are we rolling?
Did you just call it edutainment?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Edumacation and entertainment. Edutainment.
All right, so let's go ahead and get Jessica to roll us a d10.
5.
5. Oh, this is going to be a good one.
Aren't they all good ones, though?
No, some of them are evil.
That's also true.
All right, have a high five.
Yeah.
Have a high five. There you go.
But
Well
this one
learned.
is also a personal favorite for the group. Today,
Okay.
we're going to be casting Desna,
Oh,
the
nice.
Song of the Spheres, the goddess of dreams, luck, stars, and travelers.
I cast Mothra.
Desna is an impulsive and aloof goddess who delights in freedom, discovery, and mystery. Her aloofness stems not from arrogance, but from her confidence in her own abilities and her desire to be unburdened by troubles. She is a collection of contrasts, an ancient goddess who dislikes predicting the future, a traveler who cares nothing for her destination, a carefree creature of instinct haunted by a past stretching back aeons, and a peaceful deity forced to battle with old enemies, eternally young despite the weight of ages and stars upon her. Some believe Desna is flighty and frivolous and easily distracted, but she has a cold side born of lost tragedy and battle. As a luck goddess, she always believes that there is a chance for success, but knows that dreams can turn into nightmares and bright destinies can become dark fates. These opposites in her own nature define her and give her things to strive against. She challenges those who would corrupt her domain or who have wronged her friends or followers, striking at them with burning starlight, bad luck, and energies alien to Golarion. So, Desna usually appears to her followers as a beautiful but remote elven acolyte of her faith. In this guise, she aids people in need and suggests relevant excerpts from her holy writings, the 8 Scrolls, as a way to lead the faithful on correct paths. She is not above singing to lighten dour moods or dancing with those whose confidence is in need of reinvigoration. When Desna wishes to reveal her true nature, she transforms her common clothing into billowing silken gowns and grows brightly colored butterfly wings on her back, although in somber situations, her wing colors are pale and moth-like. So, usually depicted as an elven woman with dark hair and butterfly wings.
Okay.
I actually have one for this one.
I don't really have
I do
one.
too,
All I
yeah.
have is Mothra.
Can I go first for once? Because I actually have an idea.
No,
Sure.
I have an idea. I want to go first. I never have ideas.
Neither do I. Usually when it's my turn, you guys skip me. So I have an idea this time. Haha.
I don't skip you. You ask me for my ideas.
Rachel's got her list of like 20 people already.
Yep.
4. I marked off 2.
Goodness.
Can I go?
I said yes.
I'm going to pick Tilda Swinton.
Oh, nice.
Tilda Swinton, nice one. Yeah.
I just think she has that ethereal look. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's next?
No, I certainly agree.
Yeah.
I could see Tilda Swinton for the role.
Okay, so for mine, I'm going to go, and this is because, for some reason, this has kind of been in my head every time I think of Desna. Liv Tyler.
Huh.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
like
man.
she's got that kind of elven features.
Yeah, if you're looking at someone that looks elven, I think you can't go wrong with Liv Tyler.
Yeah, exactly. Like she
Because
just.
she was an elf in those, low-budget fantasy movies that nobody ever saw.
Yeah, I know. I kind of feel bad because I'm like, it feels a little bit like typecasting to be like, hey, one of your biggest roles is being an elf. Why don't you be
See-
an elven butterfly lady?
I had 2 because I always have one before the description and then I have one after the description.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, so before I got the description of what she was supposed to look like, I picked Letitia Wright, who plays Shuri.
Huh.
Because
What are those?
because she's just kind of mischievous, but she'll fight if she needs to, but she's also kind of got this otherworldliness. I really like her. And then after I read the description, I was like, Keira Knightley.
That's not bad. Funny enough, Natalie Portman was on my list for a little bit, so Keira Knightley and Natalie Portman could face off. But I guess for my casting, and maybe this is a little bit more of just the night side of her and just the beauty and energy, but also like the weight and the loss that she's endured. Ava Green.
Oh, she's interesting.
I love her in pretty much everything she does, but she also has that, she can do a lot of high energy, but she can also be that serious, but still like benevolent kind of what was the movie that she was in with that was based on the kids book series?
Miss Peregrine's School for Peculiar Children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children.
Yeah. So, kind of her portrayal in that where she was both, a little stern, but at the same time very mischievous and playful.
Yeah, true. I was going to go with Elizabeth Olsen.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, nice
I could
one.
see that.
Yeah.
She's got kind of interesting features, and she can be both excited and light, but also super dark.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Very cool. Yeah, it's funny how many people we picked from like the Marvel universe.
Well, they do cast the best.
Yeah, my backup if somebody
Disney has consumed all of the actors.
That's fair.
My backup was
but yeah, my
somebody else.
backup if somebody else had picked Liv Tyler I was going to go with Tessa Thompson.
Oh, she's fun.
Yeah, because she's fun too. Elvin.
I like Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swinton is interesting. Tilda Swinton might be a good Gozra.
Oh, I could see
this
that.
is a tough one.
I could also see her as a Callistra.
Oh, true. All right. Anyway, that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tilda Swinton.
I don't have a strong opinion.
Elizabeth
I mean,
They're
I'd
all
be willing to
good.
give
They're
it
all
to,
good choices.
Eva
I mean,
Green's
I like
pretty good.
Elizabeth
I do like Elizabeth Olsen.
I love Ava Green in basically everything. I was actually surprised that Rachel wasn't going to say it because I was looking at my backup because I was like, Rachel might go for Ava Green because I know.
But see,
in her top
I don't know
five.
because I don't picture her very elvish.
She's not lighthearted.
Yeah, she's my little goth queen, and that's why I love her. And I don't picture Desna very gothy.
I don't know. Moon, darkness.
Moon,
I know,
darkness.
but it's freaking moths that are because now I picture Mothra, and she was all like, "Katie."
Sorry.
Her mentor was ripped apart by a demon prince, which she had to battle her way through the abyss to go and slay single-handedly. Desna,
Well, see, that's why I kind of
people
like
up when she
Keira
needs
Knightley
to.
because then I pictured her from like King Arthur when she's all dressed up like the Woad Warrior and she's like kicking butt. Like, yeah, Keira Knightley.
my mind always goes Pirates of the Caribbean.
It's
But
true.
That's true
Although
too.
she was also
badass.
awesome in Pirates of the Caribbean.
She was also Domino, or she played an assassin.
That's true. I
and,
didn't see
like,
that, though.
Yeah, Keira Knightley's great.
Keira
though.
Knightley's got range.
Anyway, I guess that's it. Have a nice day.
You want to vote for Tilda Swinton.
You want to vote for the one that moves your heart or whatever.
Follow your heart.
Bye-bye.
That's what Desna would do.
Bye-bye. Have a nice day. See you
Oh,
later.
is that your
Pathfolk.
Oh, that's your sign off?
That's my bye-bye.
Bye, Pathfolk. See you
So
next time.
Yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in for another session, and hopefully
We all don't die.
Kira's got to go run through the desert real quick.
next after party we're not discussing the new characters at joining
Hey, follow up to that question we just got.
Do I kill characters? Yes,
We'll
I do.
find out in 3 weeks.
Now we'll just find out how many.
Yes, I do.
Well, you guys are going to get TPK'd. If anything, you're going to come back to Onuris and Sagira, or
We could run
Onuris
into
and
any
Citra's
number of
dead
things.
bodies.
We could run into any number of things.
They come running in.